Let me ask you an uncomfortable question. How many times have you spent money trying to solve a problem that could be solved with something that costs less than a coffee? It sounds like an exaggeration, but the truth is that many so-called big problems begin with silent, ignored symptoms. They are early warning signs within your home and your life that you haven't learned to read. And when you don't identify the initial symptoms, you end up paying dearly for something that started small. There's an almost automatic belief that a good solution is an expensive solution, but that's a mental trap. Most household and even financial damage begins with signals your body is telling you that something needs a simple adjustment. Don't ignore these patterns. A scratched piece of furniture, a creaking floor, a weak shower, a burnt pan. They seem like details, but they are hidden symptoms of neglected maintenance. And the good news? Many of these problems can be solved with items from a popular store. Today, you'll discover how simple, affordable, and often underestimated solutions can eliminate silent warning signs before they turn into costly expenses. It's not about saving pennies, it's about developing strategic vision. Because when you learn to solve the small problems intelligently, you begin to consciously avoid the big ones. The question is, are you ready to stop paying dearly for cheap problems? The walnut trick. It starts with something simple, almost banal. A walnut. Yes, that common walnut you find at the market. But he always says, don't underestimate small solutions because big problems begin with subtle warning signs. Scratches on wooden furniture are silent symptoms of wear and tear, signs from your home's body asking for care. Most people ignore them, thinking, I'll deal with it later, and so the initial symptoms become permanent damage. But the walnut, rubbed on the scratch, releases natural oils that disguise imperfections like magic. It seems like a cheap trick, but it's practical intelligence. He likes to explain why, because understanding changes everything. Wood dries out over time, and the signs your body is telling you about neglecting your home appear in small cracks. Don't ignore these details. Take a walnut, break it in half, and rub the inside directly on the scratch. Wait a few minutes and wipe with a soft cloth. It's almost therapeutic. You're not just fixing a piece of furniture, you're responding to early warning signs before the problem becomes expensive. That's how you build a strategic mindset. And here's the point that almost no one realizes. Those who learn to identify hidden symptoms in small things begin to develop a radar for bigger problems. If you train your eye for silent signs in a piece of furniture, you start to notice symptoms that you shouldn't ignore in finances, health, relationships. Everything leaves clues. The house speaks, the body speaks, life speaks. And often the solution isn't in something sophisticated, but in something simple that was right in front of you all along, like that floor that creaks discreetly when you step on it. The squeaky floor fix. He often laughs when he talks about creaking floors because everyone has experienced it. That discreet cricket that seems harmless, but is one of the most classic warning signs in the home. They are silent symptoms of wood rubbing together, loose screws, small structural gaps. At first, they seem like almost decorative initial symptoms until you wake someone up in the middle of the night. Don't ignore these sounds. They're signs that your body is telling you something needs adjusting before it becomes a bigger headache. The trick? Talcum powder, graphite, or even chalk dust applied between the creaks. He explains calmly, the powder acts as a dry lubricant, reducing friction between the boards. It's simple, cheap, and surprisingly effective. You spread the powder over the creaking area, use a broom to help penetrate the creaks, and clean off the excess. In a few minutes, the silent symptoms diminish. It's almost like taking care of human joints. When you respond to the body's signals early, you prevent further wear and tear. And here comes the strategic part he loves to teach. Small creaks are hidden symptoms of structural issues demanding attention. It's the same in financial life. Small bank fees, seemingly harmless interest rates, forgotten signatures are early warning signs. Don't ignore them. Do a simple audit of your monthly expenses, cut waste, adjust what creaks in your budget. Because when you learn to listen to silent signals in a floor, you also begin to hear what's loose in other areas of life. And if floors can creak, carpets also love to rebel, stopping rugs from seeking freedom. He always jokes that rugs have an adventurous spirit. You straighten them today, and tomorrow they're sliding around the living room as if they're running away from home. It sounds silly, but this is one of the most common warning signs in domestic environments. Insufficient friction, a surface that's too smooth, an unstable base. These are silent symptoms of imbalance that, if ignored, can turn into a nasty fall. And look, don't ignore them, because falls start with almost invisible initial symptoms. The solution? Simple and almost embarrassingly cheap. Strong, double-sided tape, non-slip backing, or even those rubber nets you find in any discount store. He recommends cutting the material to the shape of the rug and attaching it to the edges and center. In a few minutes, the silent signs of instability disappear. It's almost like giving the object roots. And here's a practical parallel. If something in your life is slipping, productivity, discipline, focus, perhaps it lacks a non-slip base. Create fixed routines, set schedules, written goals. Structure reduces risk. He always emphasizes that small slips reveal hidden symptoms of disorganization. A loose rug may seem irrelevant, but it's a visual reminder that the signals your body is giving you about a cluttered environment impact your mind. Studies show that organized environments reduce stress and improve focus. Don't ignore these details, because when you learn to stabilize what slips on the floor, you also begin to stabilize what slips in your habits. And speaking of things that seem destined for disposal, have you ever seen a piece of clothing that seemed lost and then came back to life? The garment resurrection. He often picks up an old t-shirt when explaining this, as if he were revealing an ancient secret. That garment that seemed doomed by stains, pilling, or a tired appearance isn't dead. It's just emitting warning signs. These are silent symptoms of natural wear and tear, not of uselessness. And here lies the difference between those who discard and those who observe. Don't ignore these initial symptoms. Often the problem isn't the clothing, it's the care it lacked. A simple razor blade can gently remove fabric lint. Diluted white vinegar can revive colors and neutralize lingering odors. Baking soda helps treat light stains. He recommends washing the garment inside out and using gentle cycles. It seems basic, but these are signs your body is telling you about conscious consumption. Instead of buying another item, try restoring the one you already have. This applies to clothes and to relationships too. He likes to say that the wardrobe is a silent mirror of your mental patterns. If you ignore hidden signs of wear and tear, you accumulate losses. But when you respond to early warning signs, you create a mindset of preservation and financial intelligence. Think about it. How many times do you replace something that could be salvaged? Don't ignore this pattern, because whoever learns to resurrect a garment learns to resurrect opportunities. And if a shirt can be saved with something so simple, imagine what can be adjusted in the bathroom when the water starts behaving strangely. The imprisoned shower stream. He turns on the shower and observes in silence, as if listening to a patient. When the water starts to come out weak, irregular, almost suffocating, that's not bad luck. It's a warning sign. These are silent symptoms of mineral buildup, microscopic dirt, small obstructions that slowly develop. At first, they seem like harmless initial symptoms, just a slight loss of pressure. But don't ignore them. They are signs that your body is telling you that maintenance has been postponed longer than ideal. The trick is simple and elegant: a plastic bag, white vinegar, and a few hours of patience. It teaches you to fill the bag with vinegar, secure it around the shower head with a rubber band, and leave it overnight. The acid dissolves mineral buildup and restores water flow. In the morning, simply rinse. The silent signs disappear almost instantly. It's almost like detoxifying something that's been stuck there for too long. And see how this teaches us. Accumulated problems require continuous solutions, not brute force. He always emphasizes that reduced blood pressure is a hidden symptom of gradual neglect. The same happens with productivity, relationships, and health. When energy starts to drop, these are early warning signs. Perhaps you lack rest. Perhaps you lack organization. Don't ignore these patterns. Periodically review your routine, just like you do with your shower. Because when the flow returns, the feeling is clear. Small interventions prevent large expenses. And if a jet of water can be released with something so accessible, wait until you see what happens when you organize what's forgotten in the pantry. The pantry upgrade. He slowly opens the pantry door, like someone revealing a hidden map. Inside, there's not just food. There are warning signs scattered across crumpled packaging, expiring dates, and unlabeled containers. These are silent symptoms of disorganization that drain money without making a sound. You buy something thinking you've run out, when in reality it was hidden behind a forgotten package. Don't ignore these initial symptoms. They seem small, but they accumulate month after month. The solution? Simple, almost humble. Transparent containers, adhesive labels, small plastic organizers. He recommends emptying everything, cleaning shelves and organizing by category: grains, spices, canned goods, snacks. Place items with the closest expiration dates at the front. This eliminates hidden signs of waste. It's like creating a system of silent visual signals that work in your favor. And here's something practical. Do this on a Saturday morning with a list in hand. You'll notice real savings on your next shopping trip. He always says that an organized pantry is a reflection of a strategic mind. When you learn to read early warning signs in forgotten foods, you also begin to read neglected financial patterns. Don't ignore what's hidden behind the shelves, whether in the kitchen or in life. Often the problem isn't a lack of money, it's a lack of visibility. And when you create clarity about what's stored, you realize that even the bathroom mirror, fogged up every morning, is also trying to teach you something. The mirror fog shield. He stares at the fogged mirror after his shower, as if observing an old acquaintance repeating the same mistake. That mist isn't just steam, it's one of the most ignored warning signs of daily life. These are silent symptoms of excessive humidity, insufficient ventilation, and structural neglect. At first, they seem like harmless initial symptoms, just a visual annoyance. But don't ignore them. Constant humidity is fertile ground for mold, stains, and slow deterioration. The trick is almost elegant in its simplicity. A thin layer of liquid soap, shampoo, or even shaving foam spread on the mirror and then removed with a dry cloth. This creates a film that prevents vapor buildup for a few days. He recommends testing on a small area first, always with a soft cloth. It's quick, cheap, and solves something that seemed inevitable. These are small adjustments that eliminate silent signs before they turn into larger hidden symptoms. He always emphasizes that the mirror is a perfect metaphor. When you can't see clearly, it might not be a lack of ability. It might be an accumulation. Signals your body is giving you about mental overload work like steam. They gradually cloud your vision. Don't ignore these early warning signs. Take breaks, reduce stimuli, organize your thoughts. Because clarity isn't a luxury, it's maintenance. And if a simple product creates an invisible barrier against blurriness, imagine what can be done when even that burnt pan seems like a lost cause. Exercising the burnt pot demon. He holds the burnt pan as if it were a lost cause. That dark crust at the bottom seems definitive, almost a testament to domestic defeat, but he smiles and says, "This isn't a disaster, it's a warning sign. These are silent symptoms of excessive heat, momentary distraction, and a hectic routine." At first, they just seem like ugly stains, but don't ignore them. They are initial symptoms that haste is taking over even the smallest tasks. The solution is almost ritualistic: hot water, baking soda, and a little vinegar. He recommends letting it boil for a few minutes and then turning off the heat, allowing the chemical reaction to do the hard work. The dirt begins to loosen on its own. The silent signs of neglect are dissolved without brute force. It's a practical lesson. Not every problem requires aggression. Some require method, just like in financial life, where compound interest works for or against you. Small accumulated reactions change results. He always concludes this teaching by reminding us that a burnt pan is a perfect symbol of ignored accumulation. Signals your body is giving you about stress, fatigue, or overload work the same way. If you ignore symptoms you shouldn't ignore, the wear and tear intensifies. But when you apply simple, consistent, and intelligent solutions, what seemed lost starts working again. And it's curious, because all these tricks show the same thing. Expensive problems begin with cheap warning signs. Now think about this calmly. How many of your expensive problems were actually just warning signs that you ignored? A scratched piece of furniture, a creaking floor, a weak shower, a burnt pan. They all started with silent symptoms. And when we learn to identify these early warning signs, something changes. It's not just the house that becomes more organized, it's the mind. It's the way you approach money, routine, and responsibility. You begin to realize that you don't need complex solutions for everything. You need attention. What you saw here today isn't just household tricks, it's perception training. It's exercises to learn, not to ignore the signals your body is giving you. Whether about home maintenance, financial decisions, or emotional strain, initial symptoms almost always appear before the damage. Symptoms you shouldn't ignore almost always come disguised as, "I'll deal with it later." And that's exactly where the invisible cost lies. If this video made you see things differently, then it has already served its purpose. Now tell me, which of these tricks will you apply first? When did you realize you were ignoring subtle signs in your routine? Comment below, I want to know. And if you like this type of content, practical, intelligent, and to the point, then subscribe to the channel now. Turn on notifications, because in the next videos, you'll continue learning how to solve real problems with simple, strategic, and accessible solutions. Ultimately, those who learn to read the warning signs early almost never pay the high price later.